മൗനം വ്യാഖ്യാ പ്രകടിത പരബ്രഹ്മതത്വം യുവാനം വർഷിഷ്ടാന്തേവ സദൃശിഗണൈരാവൃതം ബ്രഹ്മനിഷ്ഠൈ ആചാര്യേന്ദ്രം കരകലിതചിന്മുദ്രമാനന്ദരൂപം സ്വാത്മാരാമം മുദിതവദനം ദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തിമീഢേ വടവിടപി സമീപേ ഭൂമിഭാഗേ നിഷണ്ണം സകലമുനിജനാനാം ജ്ഞാനദാതാരമാരാധ ത്രിഭുവനഗുരുമീശം ദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തിദേവം ജനനമരണദുഃഖ ഛേദദക്ഷം നമാമി. ചിത്രം വടതരോർമൂലേ വൃദ്ധാ ശിഷ്യാ ഗുരുർയുവ ഗുരോസ്തു മൗനം വ്യാഖ്യാനം ശിഷ്യാസ്തു ഛിന്ന സംശയ. നിധയേ സർവവിദ്യാനാം ഭിഷജേ ഭവരോഗിണാം ഗുരവേ സർവലോകാനാം ദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തയേ നമഃ. ഓം നമഃ പ്രണവാർത്ഥായ ശുദ്ധജ്ഞാനൈകമൂർത്തയേ നിർമ്മലായ പ്രശാന്തായ ദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തയേ നമഃ. ഈശ്വരോ ഗുരുരാത്മേതി മൂർത്തിഭേദവിഭാഗിനെ വ്യോമവത് വ്യാപ്തദേഹായ ദക്ഷിണാമൂർത്തയേ നമഃ. So these are the Dhyana slokas, and the main slokas are 10 in number. We will get into the main sloka, first sloka today. Vishvam Darpnna-Drshyamaana-Nagarii-Tulyam Nija-Antargatam Pashyann-Aatmani Maayayaa Bahir-Ivo Yathaa Nidrayaa Yah Saakssaat-Kurute Prabodha-Samaye Sva atmaanam-Eva-Advayam Tasmai Shrii-Guru-Muurtaye Nama Idam Shrii-Dakssinnaamuurtaye. Vishvam Darpnna-Drshyamaana-Nagarii-Tulyam Nija-Antargatam Pashyann-Aatmani Maayayaa Bahir-Ivo Yathaa Nidrayaa Yah Saakssaat-Kurute Prabodha-Samaye Sva atmaanam-Eva-Advayam Tasmai Shrii-Guru-Muurtaye Nama Idam Shrii-Dakssinnaamuurtaye. So it's very, very profound verse. Very, we need to go into the depth. Before getting into the interpretation of these words, I want to bring one familiar term, or we can say one of the important aspects of the Vedantic studies, that is called as the Atma-Anatma Vivek, or we can say Nitya Anitya Vastu Vivek. What is Nityam? What is Anityam? What is permanent? What is not permanent? What is permanent in me? What is not permanent in me? What can be depended by me? What cannot be depended by me? And whatever I experience in the world of objects, I cannot depend upon those, because they all are anatma. There is no independent existence for the anatma vastu. What is real? Atma is the only real. Atma is my real nature. Atma is the consciousness. I am the nature of consciousness. And in me, the real experiencer, I am experiencing the world of objects, including my body, mind, intellect, senses, the world that I experience, all are anatma, including the external world, including the body, including the mind. They all are at the plane of matter. They are at the plane of jadam. What is permanent, what is going to exist forever is the consciousness. All matter, including the external world, including the interactions, including the transactions that you have with the people, including the people around you, including the relationships that you have, including our own body, mind, intellect, senses. They all are matter. They all are matter principles. They are collectively called as the anatma or prakriti. So what one has to understand is basically again the re-emphasis of nitya anitya vastu vivekam is happening in this verse. So what we need to do is we need to know the relationship between these two, the nitya vastu and the anitya. We cannot call even vastu because nityam is what and anityam is what. And what is the interconnection between? What is the relationship between these two? This is what one of the key points of this verse. This is going to emphasize on this. So here, when we see the real meaning, I will not go through word by word. And maybe in the next session we can do that. But here, at a very high level, to who sees this universe like a dream existing within oneself, or like a city seen in a mirror but appearing externally due to Maya, who upon enlightenment beholds the universe directly as his own non-dual self. I salute Shrii-Dakssinnaamuurtaye in the form of my Guru, who is enlightened, who directly sees his own non-dual self everywhere. So I salute to this Guru, I salute to this Murti, Shrii-Dakssinnaamuurtaye, in the form of Dakshinamoorthi, Guru-Muurtaye nama Idam, Shrii-Dakssinnaamuurtaye. So in the form of my Guru. Atma, again, Atma Anatma Vastu. The real I. What is my real I? We often think that my mind is the I. Mind is the placeholder for the ego. Mind is the anatma vastu. Mind basically experiences. Superficially, mind has created an identity that I am the real I. But the real I is not the mind. Mind is the anatma. The real I is the consciousness. Whatever mind has created, mind has formulated, that is mithya, that is ego. My real I, the real consciousness, is the experiencer of the world, experiencer of the body, experiencer of my own mind. Whatever I experience, including the world, body, mind, intellect, emotions, everything is a matter. Those all are anatma. So in this verse, there are two examples brought in. We can see that the Darpnna-Nagarii, Vishvam Darpnna-Drshyamaana-Nagarii, and the other one is the Swapna-Nagarii. So let us see, let us try to understand. Swapna-Nagarii. Here let us take the example of a very huge mirror in front of a street, or maybe a slightly or a technically advanced version I will try to bring. You might have seen the CCTV that captures the entire happenings of a street. Similarly, think like a big mirror that can capture the reflections of the entire street or a city for the sake of discussion. What you see in a CCTV screen or in this mirror, you see the reflection of the street, correct? When you see in the CCTV, you are seeing some reflections, which is called as pratibimba. So technically, if you have a very big mirror that will capture the entire street, what you have a mirror, and in that mirror what you will have a reflected street. In that mirror, what you have is a reflected street, not the real street, not the original street. You all agree with me? And again, don't consider the original street for the discussion here now. In the mirror, you all agree or not? You have a mirror that will capture the entire street or a city, and what you get in that mirror is the reflection. Are you all with me, and are you all agreeing with that? Correct? Or if you see a CCTV screen also, because you can easily appreciate that, right? What is that? The screen is basically supporting the reflection of the street. What is happening, right? You can see in the Facebook, these days we can see the accidents, the videos of accidents, or videos of whatever happenings in the street, right? These days it's easily available, you can appreciate that. So what a mirror or a CCTV screen is doing is basically it is supporting the reflected street. Are you all with me? So we can say the mirror or a CCTV screen is the adhishtanam. It is supporting the reflection of a street. And what is really supported here? The street is supported here. Who is supporting the street? The CCTV screen or a mirror is supporting the street. The street is supported by the mirror or the screen. And now the reflected street which is there in the mirror. What is the reflected street? It is just a reflection of the street. It is a pratibimba. So now my question is, this reflection which is happening in the mirror, is it having an existence of its own, or when you are seeing into the mirror, you are experiencing the reflected street in the mirror? You are able to identify the motion, you are able to see the bus, cars, all those people moving in that street. You can see the transactions happening. So my question here is this reflected street having its own existence? Reflected street or a city is basically a borrowed existence of a real street or a real city. So now my next question is, can the mirror exist without the reflection happening on the mirror? Mirror can independently exist, meaning the mirror can exist without reflection. But whereas, can the reflection exist without the mirror? No. So here, reflection or the CCTV footage cannot exist without a mirror or a CCTV. You all agree with that? So that now, what this mirror is becoming is an adhishtanam. And mirror is a reality, whereas the reflection is borrowing the reality. So reflection cannot be satyam, whereas mirror is the adhishtanam, mirror is the satyam. And again, irrespective of the events happening in the reflected street, the mirror is always neutral. For example, the two buses are colliding in the street. Whether the mirror will get affected, whether the mirror will get break, or a fire is happening, or a flood is happening in the street, whether the mirror will get affected by the flood or a fire, the mirror is not affected. The reflection, whatever happens in the reflection, the mirror is never affected. Meaning the unaffectedness of the mirror is what I am trying to say here, called as asangatvam. And since the reflected object have no existence of their own, then we can say, we can consider the reflected object as non-existent, which means they cannot be counted along with the mirror, because mirror can exist without reflection. So when one count the number of objects, the reflected objects are not counted. For example, if in the reflected object, let us take the example, there is a coffee shop. When the person who is there, who has entered into the coffee shop, he has ordered a coffee. Will you add one more coffee? Because you are seeing the reflection here. Do you add one more coffee? Can that coffee or can that transaction can be counted from the reflected image? You do not order for the reflected people in the mirror. So it means the mirror is non-dual, the mirror is Advayam. We'll stop it there, we'll come back to this analogy. Let's take the second example here, Swapna-Nagarii-Drishtandam, as I mentioned, right? Swapna-Nagarii-Drishtandam. Let us see. You are in a dreaming state. I hope you all are active, because I am not seeing the videos of the online audience. I hope you all are active, not in samadhi. Thank you. So the waker, right? In dreaming, let us take the waker as the mirror here. In dreaming, the waker, the I is the adhishtanam, is the support here. Meaning what? Who is dreaming? Is there a dream which happens without you? So the waker is the subject of every dream. I need to be there in the dream. Correct? I, the waker, I am the basis for the entire dream. I am giving life to the dream. And as long as I continue to dream, I am supporting the process of dreaming. You all agree with me? The moment I wakes up, what is happening? I am withdrawing from the dream. So meaning the waker I is the Adhishtanam. The waker I is the one who is the basis for the entire dream. You all agree with me, because this is very easy to comprehend. So who lends the existence to the Swapnam? Who lends the existence to the dream? I, the waker, is lending existence to the dream. Correct? Similar to the mirror, similar to the CCTV which I mentioned before, lends existence to the Darpnna-Nagarii. Without me, the waker I, the dream world cannot exist. Now the question. Without the dream world, will the waker I exist? Correct? Without me, the dream will not happen. And do I need the dream to exist? I can exist without the dream world also. So therefore, we can say no dream world without the waker I, whereas the waker I can exist without the dream world. And the waker I is without the dream world, because it is beyond even the dream world, right? The waker I is always there. What happens is, basically, once you come out of the dream, the waker I is realizing that I was under a dream. For the waker I to exist, the dreams are not needed. The waker I is without the dream world. So then can we say the waker is independent principle here, and the dream world is a dependent existence? Correct? So waker is Satyam, waker is independent, and the waker lends the support for the Swapnam. The waker is the existence that is lending the support for the Swapnam. Clear? So this is an independent principle. The waker I is an independent principle. Now let us come. Whatever happens in the dream world, right? Imagine that in one of your dreams you have become a bankrupt, and you have to give me money, some $1 million. Okay. The moment you wake up, you realize that was a dream, and will you still come back to me and say, yeah, I'll give this money in a day's time? Are you all with me? Will you give the money to me which happened in your dream? Or another example, I had a dream that I did not get the visa to enter into this country in the dream. The visa was rejected. The moment you come out of the dream, will you go back to the embassy and or will you go to that particular embassy and say that I had a dream that my visa application got rejected? Okay. So when the dreaming is over, right, traveling to US or traveling to any country, right, your visa rejection or your bankruptcy in the dream, they all won't belong to the waker, because waker has no connection, and waker is asangan here. Waker has the asangatvam here. The dream doesn't touch the waker. You all agree? Correct? And now the dream object and the people. Let us assume that the visa officer is standing or sitting in front of you. You see a dream with 1,000 people. Who created these 1,000 people? In your mind, it is a perception that is created by you. And the people in the dream, are they having existence? Will you go back and count all those numbers? How many should I count? What will you count? You will count you alone. When you come out of the dream, you will not count anything because they all are not making any sense. What is permanent, what is always there is I. I am the one who is there, and I am Advayam. Because I was witnessing the dream, I came out of the dream, but I am the one who is not changing. I, the consciousness, is the Adhishtanam, not the body, not the mind, not the intellect, not the vasanas. I, the consciousness. This consciousness is the principle. This is the Adhishtanam of the whole. So what is important is my own existence is important here. Swapnam doesn't have an independent existence of its own. Similarly, the entire universe borrows the existence from the consciousness. For you to say something exists, you need to be conscious of that. You need to be conscious of that, and existence presupposes consciousness. I am independent, and the world is not independently existent. I am the Atma, I am the Satyam, and every other thing is Anatma, every other thing is Mithya, including my own body, mind, intellect, sense. So Atma is consciousness, and it is Asangham, Asangatvam. Any event which is in the form of an interaction. See, any event is basically an interaction that will happen between the body, mind and world, or with other people or relatives or whatever is. They all are mithya because they cannot have an independent existence. What is really needed is existence is needed. If in that case, you take the example of the dream again. In the dream, you experience the bankruptcy. The moment you came out of the dream, there is no bankruptcy. Technically, I am free from the samsara bandhanam. I am free. This is the fact. Because I am asangan. If I am asangan, this is an independent principle, then it is equivalent to independent freedom. There is freedom. And the entire world is mithya because they don't have the objects of the world will not have its own existence, and it is not countable also. What is counting here? Counting principle, counting aspect is only the I, the Satyam, the Satya Atma, the Atma which is Advaitam. That is the only counting aspect here. Right. So what happens in the sleep, if you see, we are not really aware of the fact that originally I am the waker. Right? During the dream, I am not aware of myself as a waker in the dream. Right? During dream, I am not aware of myself as a waker. When I am aware of myself as a waker, what is happening? I am having the Adhisthana Jnanam. The outside dream, because dream has happened outside, correct? Because you are witnessing, you are having a projection in mind. So what is happening? Basically, the dream, the outside dream, and the moment you wake up, that real dream, which you originally considered as real, that real dream is becoming falsified. Similarly, due to the ignorance of the Atma, because when I say ignorance of the Atma, when one is not having the adhisthana jnanam, that is happening is basically the ignorance of the nidra, ignorance of the avidya, ignorance of the maya. What is happening is basically that person is thinking that world is really outside. But what the reality is, the world is within me. Appears as though outside. See, inside a dream, what happens? Inside when you are in a dream, what is happening? You are seeing a dream and you see the dream as outside due to the nidra. Similarly, the world which is within me appears as though outside due to what? Due to the avidya nidra or the maya nidra. So one has to get up from the atma ajnana nidra to the atma jnanam. So here 4 ideas are conveyed. One is basically the adhisthanattvam. Second is basically the permanency, the satyam. Third is basically the independent existence, the asangatvam. And the universal principle, the singular principle called as the Advaitam. I represent the Atma, which is having the Adhisthana Tattvam, Satya Tattvam, Asangatvam and the Advaitam. So here the summary of verse 1 is basically, when we experience the world, who is really experiencing? The real I is experiencing, the real consciousness is experiencing the world. So here the entire world in this first verse, Vishvam Darpnna-Drshyamaana-Nagarii-Tulyam Nija-Antargatam. The entire world, the Vishvam is similar to, a city which is being seen in a mirror. And it is located within oneself, correct? The external world is experienced. If you see the external world, how you experience? We experience the external world through the Pancha Jnanendriya, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandham. And what happens? These senses basically project its experience on the screen of mind. And when you say a movie, you appreciate the film, the characters, the story, etc. Where the movie is projected, what is really illuminating that movie? The real screen. Similarly, the projection of mind is illuminated by the consciousness. The mind borrows the consciousness and reflects. So the entire world is functionally projected on the screen of your mind. And the mind is very, very powerful. What happens? The mind creates a seamless experience. Like if you see the movie, you know that I frames and B frames and P frames, 24 frames per second. Right, so that is how video clips, or I would say the video frames, are composed. But in reality, these all are stitched together. But our eye really makes a seamless experience. Not like seeing the I frame, B frame, or the motion estimation or motion compensation which is happening between these frames and all. Nothing. Similarly, our mind is also able to create one seamless experience. And this seamless experience is called as illusion. This seamless experience is called as Maya. And I am not saying the world is an illusion. Our experience is illusion. Our mind is creating the illusion. Due to what? The delusive power of Maya. See, when you dream, your dream world seems external, right? But actually, it exists within your mind. That is what it says, Nija-Antargatam. Pashyann-Aatmani Maayayaa Bahir-Ivo Udbhutam Yathaa Nidrayaa. Everything you experience is yourself, nothing else. It is all about the consciousness, it is all about you. And from the experiential standpoint, you discover that the world exists in your mind. The world exists because you experience it. But in convention, right? In convention, you all say that, yeah, the world is already there and you experience it. But from an experiential standpoint of view, you discover that world exists in your mind, because the world is existing because you experience it. And the world in the mind exists because you are there to experience it. And if you are not there to witness the world in your mind also will not exist. So what you directly experience is only the content of your mind, and that is an illusion. So this is what the first verse says. Vishvam Darpnna-Drshyamaana-Nagarii-Tulyam Nija-Antargatam Pashyann-Aatmani Maayayaa Bahir-Ivo Udbhutam Yathaa Nidrayaa Yah Saakssaat-Kurute Prabodha-Samaye Sva atmaanam-Eva-Advayam Tasmai Shrii-Guru-Muurtaye Idam Shrii-Dakssinnaamuurtaye. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnavadaya Purnameva-Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shrii-Gurubhyo Namaः. Kayena Vacha Manasendriyarva Buddhyatmana va Prakriti